Well, hello darlings. Settle in, pour yourselves a cup of sweet tea, maybe a slice of Mama's pecan pie if you've got some handy, because I'm about to tell you a story. A long one. A story about family, and how sometimes, the folks you think you know ain't the folks you thought they were. And how sometimes, the family you find is the one that truly matters. 68 years of sunshine and shadows, of laughter and tears, of joy and, well, let's just say there's been a heap of heartbreak sprinkled in there too. I live in a little town in Texas, the kind where everybody knows everybody's business, and where the porch swing creaks a sweeter tune than any city symphony. Used to be, that porch swing held the weight of happy memories, family gatherings, the sweet scent of honeysuckle in the summer air. But that was before everything changed. See, my story starts with Mama. Sweet Mama, with her hands as rough as bark from years of hard work, but a heart softer than a summer breeze. She passed away a few years back, and Lord, the emptiness she left behind felt like a canyon carved right through my soul. The silence in the house was deafening, the absence of her laughter a constant ache in my chest. It was a quiet kind of grief, the kind that settles deep down and makes your bones ache with longing. The kind that makes you clutch at the memories like they're lifelines in a stormy sea. And then came the storm. Not a hurricane, not a tornado, but something far more insidious. Something that chipped away at my heart, piece by painful piece. It came in the form of my sister, Ruth. Always the pretty one, always the one with the effortless charm. Always the one who seemed to glide through life without a care in the world, while the rest of us toiled and struggled. You see, Ruth, she was always a little selfish. Not overtly so, mind you. Just a subtle selfishness, a way of taking what she wanted without a second thought about who might get hurt in the process. I always excused it, told myself she was just a little spoiled, a little naive. I loved her, after all. She was my sister. My blood. But Mama's death, it changed everything. It peeled away the layers of polite society, the carefully constructed facade, and revealed the true Ruth. A Ruth who saw Mama's passing not as a loss, but as an opportunity. An opportunity to, well, let's just say she saw it as a chance to grab a bigger piece of the pie. A bigger piece of everything, really. The will was read, and the shock rippled through me like a jolt of electricity. Mama had left everything to Ruth. Everything. The house, the land, the little savings she'd squirreled away over the years, all of it. Now, I wasn't expecting a king's ransom. Mama didn't have much to leave behind. But I'd always helped her. I'd taken care of her, just as I'd taken care of everyone in my family, for as long as I can remember. The house held memories, more precious than any amount of money could ever buy. And the land, that land was a part of our history, our roots, stretching back generations. Ruth, with a smile as sweet as poison, claimed it all. Said Mama had always favored her, always intended for her to inherit everything. Said I was just being unreasonable. Jealous. She acted like I was some kind of villain, intruding on her rightful inheritance. The hurt was so sharp, I almost didn't believe my own ears. A knife twisting in the wound of my grief. The injustice of it all was enough to make my heart beat like a drum solo. And the worst part? Nobody seemed to bat an eye. Not even my own brother, Caleb. He just shrugged his shoulders and said it was Mama's right to do as she pleased. He'd always been quiet, always happy to let Ruth take the lead. It was like they were all in on it, all complicit in this slow, agonizing betrayal. Leaving me alone with the silence, the absence of Mama and the cold chill that set in where once there was warmth. This story ain't all tears and sorrow, though. It's also about resilience, about finding your way back to the light after stumbling through the dark. It's about the unexpected kindness of strangers and the quiet strength that can blossom in the most unlikely places. It's about forgiveness, and maybe, a little bit of quiet revenge. But that, my dears, is a story for another time. For now, just know that this is only the beginning. This is only where it all started, the unraveling. And it's a story I'm happy to share with you over a cup of sweet tea. So, sit back and let's get started. Now, honey, let me tell you something. This ain't no fairy tale, understand? This here's my story, and it's, well, it's messy. Like a spilled jar of honey on a brand new tablecloth. Sticky, sweet, and a whole lotta cleanin' up to do. I'm Linda. 68 years young, living in a little town you'd probably never heard of in Texas. Used to have a whole lotta something. A family, a house, a life that looked picture perfect from the outside. But honey, appearances can be deceivin', can't they? It all started goin' sideways the day Mama passed. Lord, rest her soul. She was a whirlwind, that woman. Always fussing and flusterin', but she had a heart of gold, I'll give her that. But the day she closed her eyes for the last time, well, that's when my sister Ruth showed her true colors. And let me tell you, those colors weren't pretty. They were the shade of a bruised plum, dark and ugly. See, Mama always favored Ruth. Always has. Ruth was the pretty one, the one who got all the attention. Me. I was just Linda. The quiet one, the one who stayed home and helped Mama. I didn't mind. I loved Mama, and doing for her felt natural. Like Braathin. But after the funeral, things changed. Ruth, bless her heart, decided she deserved Mama's entire estate. Everything. The house, the land, the little bit of money Mama had saved. She didn't even consider me. Said I'd had my share already, which was the biggest load of bull I'd ever heard. I hadn't had much. Just enough to help her along the way when she got herself in a jam. I worked my tail off to support her. The fightin' started then. Ruth and me, claws out, tearing each other apart. Lawyers were involved. Court dates. It was like a bad country song come to life. Except there were no steel guitars, just a whole lot of heartache and bitterness. I remember sitting in that courtroom, looking at Ruth, my own sister, accusing me, lying about things I never did. The air was thick with tension, heavy as a summer thunderstorm. I could smell the fear sweating off my own skin. Lord, it was awful. Awful. The judge sided with Ruth. Said some mumbo-jumbo about technicalities and wills and blah, blah, blah. All I heard was the sound of my life shattering like a dropped glass. I lost everything. The house I grew up in, the memories, the little bit of security Mama had worked so hard to provide. I walked out of that courthouse with nothing but the clothes on my back and a heart full of venom. I felt like I'd been robbed, not just of Mama's belongings, but of my very soul. I hated Ruth then, hated her with every fiber of my being. I swore I'd get even, somehow. I found myself in a tiny apartment, smaller than Mama's pantry. I worked double shifts at the diner, my hands raw from scrubbing dishes, my feet aching from standing on that concrete floor for 12 hours a day. The loneliness was a constant companion, like a shadow clinging to my heels. But honey, here's the truth, even in the deepest darkness, there's a little light. A tiny flicker, maybe, but it's there. For me, that light came in the form of an old friend from high school. Betty Lou. She'd always been a good soul, Betty Lou. Kind and compassionate, and she saw right through my tough exterior. She found a place for me, took me in, helped me make a new life, a better life. She showed me kindness when I only felt bitterness and I didn't deserve it. She was an angel sent from above. It took time, honey. A whole lot of time, to heal. To let go of the anger, to forgive Ruth. Well, that's still a work in progress. But I'm getting there. Slow and steady, like a turtle crossin' a hot road. Now, I ain't saying I've forgotten what Ruth did. I ain't saying the bitterness is completely gone. But I've learned something precious from all this. Family ain't always blood. Sometimes, it's the people who choose to love you, even when you ain't lovable. And sometimes, the best revenge is living a good life, a life filled with peace and happiness. A life that shines so bright it makes the shadows shrink and fade away. That's what I'm doing now. And it feels pretty damn good. But that's just the beginning of the story, honey. There's so much more. Well, sugar, let me tell you, that's just the beginning. After Mark left, things settled down some. The farm kept growing, honey sales were good, and the tourist tours were a real hit. People loved hearing my story, especially the older folks. They'd nod their heads and say things like, honey, that's the truth right there, or bless your heart, child. It felt good, y'all. Really good. To finally feel understood, appreciated, not just for what I did in the army, but for who I am now. But life, she ain't a smooth ride, is she? Even with all the good, there were still bumps in the road. My PTSD, well, it never truly left. Some days were better than others, but those nightmares, those damn nightmares, they still visited me. I'd wake up screamin', heart poundin' like a hummingbird's wings. Grandpa Henry, bless his soul, he always knew what to do. A cup of hot tea left outside my door, a gentle hand on my shoulder when I needed it. He never pushed, never judged, just, was star. That was enough. Mark was a godsend, too. He was like a son to me now, more than a brother. We bounced ideas off each other, working together like a well-oiled machine. He had a knack for business, I had the farm, and Grandpa Henry, well, he was the heart of it all. He'd sit on the porch, watching us work, his smile as warm as a summer afternoon. He was my rock. He kept me grounded. One day, a letter arrived. Not just any letter, mind you. It was from my mama. It was a long, rambling letter, full of apologies and regrets. Said she'd realized her mistakes, that she'd been blinded by her own selfishness, that she missed me something awful. It was surprising, unexpected. It tugged at something deep down inside, that old familiar ache for family. But I knew better than to fall for it. Grandpa read it over my shoulder, his eyes narrowed. "She's trying to get back in your good graces, David," he said, his voice low. "After all she's done, she thinks she can just waltz back in and everything will be all right." He was right, of course. She couldn't. I wrote back a short, simple letter. I thanked her for the letter, but told her that the bridges were burned. The trust was gone. I told her that my family was here, right here on this farm, with Grandpa Henry and Mark, and that was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything. And you know what? It felt good to say it. To finally close that chapter. To let go of the anger, the hurt, the resentment that had weighed me down for so long. It was like shed off a heavy coat, feeling the sun on my skin for the first time in years. The farm flourished. We expanded, added more beehives, hired more help. Coleman Honey became a known name, not just in Oregon, but across the country. Mark's marketing ideas were brilliant. He made our story into something special, something people connected with. He created a real brand, a family brand. Our story wasn't just about honey. It was about resilience, about forgiveness, about finding your way back from the darkness. We started hosting workshops on beekeeping, teaching others what we'd learned. We shared our story, inspired others to chase their dreams, no matter how big or small. And every time I told our story, every time someone thanked me for sharing it, it felt like a healing balm on my wounds. Grandpa Henry got older, of course. His steps grew slower, his movements more deliberate. But his spirit, that never faded. He remained the heart of the farm, the glue that held us together. He was the wisdom, the strength, the silent support that kept us going. He was family. And that's more valuable than all the honey in the world. One crisp autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Grandpa sat on the porch, a contented smile on his face. He looked at me, at Mark, and he said something that'll stay with me forever. He said, "You know, David, I never thought I'd see this day. I never thought I'd have a family like this. A family built on love, not blood." He reached out, taking my hand in his. His grip was weak, but his eyes shone with love and pride. And in that moment, y'all, I knew that everything I'd gone through, everything I'd lost and gained, had brought me here. To this place, this moment, this family, this farm, this life. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. Not for anything. The hum of the bees, the smell of honey, the laughter of my family, that's home. That's my peace. And that, my friends, is the sweetest honey of all. The story keeps unfolding, of course. There's always something new around the bend, but that's a story for another time. This is the heart of it. The part where a broken soldier found his family again, right there in the heart of the beehives, surrounded by the hum of hard work, sweet honey, and the love that heals even the deepest wounds. Well, sugar, that's the long and short of it. My life, all tangled up like a spool of thread after a kitten's been at it. Seems like a lifetime ago I was a young buck in that army green, marching off to war, thinking I was savin' the world. Never even crossed my mind I'd be savin' myself, out here amongst the honeybees. It ain't easy, this life. Not after what happened over there, the blast, the screams, Jake's lifeless eyes staring at the sky. That sticks with you, honey. It clings to you like burrs in a wool coat. Even now, sometimes, late at night, I'll hear that explosion again, feel the searing pain in my leg, even though it ain't there anymore. Just a phantom limb, a phantom hurt. And then there's the family, Lord, the family. Mama and Daddy, bless their hearts, they were something else. Always wanting, always taking, never giving back nothing but empty promises and sharp words. They thought I was a money tree, a bottomless well they could just keep pumping dry. And Mark, bless his heart too, he was caught in the middle, a little bird caught in a whirlwind. Leaving that house on Belmont Street, walking away from all that hurt, that was the hardest thing I ever did. But it was also the best. Because it led me here, to this peaceful little corner of Oregon, to Grandpa Henry and his buzzing bees. This farm, it's more than just land and hives, sugar. It's my sanctuary. It's where I learned to breathe again, to feel the sun on my face without flinching, to hear the hum of the bees and find comfort in the rhythm. It's where the hurt started to fade, little by little, like a stain bleached by the sun. Grandpa Henry, he's a saint, that one. Never judged me, never pitied me. Just offered a kind word, a warm cup of coffee, and a quiet shoulder to lean on. He showed me how to live, how to find peace in the simple things, how to find joy in the work of your hands. He showed me what family really means. And Mark, my little brother. He's grown into a fine young man, sharp as a tack, full of ideas and energy. He's my partner now, my family, my friend. We work together, laugh together, and grieve together. He finally understood what Mama and Daddy had done. He understands my pain and he does not let me forget the man that I am. We built something special here, something strong. Coleman honey ain't just honey, it's a story, a testament to resilience, a taste of hope. And sometimes, a reminder that family is who you choose, not who's tied to you by blood. My parents, they tried to come crawling back, all apologies and crocodile tears. But the damage was done. The trust was broken, shattered like a dropped plate. I don't hate them, not anymore. But I ain't got room for that kind of hurt in my life. They had their chance, and they threw it away. Now, I look out at these fields, at the setting sun paintin' the sky in shades of orange and purple, and I feel a peace I never thought I'd find. The bees buzzin', the wind whisperin' through the tall grass, it's a lullaby, a sweet song of healing. I'm not the same man I was, not after the war, not after my family fell apart. But I'm stronger, wiser, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit better. I still got scars, both seen and unseen, but they're reminders of how far I've come, a map of my journey. Sometimes, the pain still creeps in, a shadow in the corner of my mind. The memories, the nightmares, they don't go away completely. But now, I got the tools to fight them, the strength to face them. I got Grandpa, Mark, my friends, this farm. I got my life. So, here I sit, amongst my bees, under the Texas sky, and I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. I've found my peace, my purpose, my family. And that, my dear friends, is a sweeter taste than any honey. It's the kind of sweetness that stays with you, long after the last drop is gone. The kind of sweetness you can't buy, but you're certainly worth the fight to find it. And that, my friends, is the real honey of life. The kind that nourishes not just the body, but the soul. The kind you never forget. Because it's the kind you build yourself. From the ground up, just like a hive. One drop, one bee, one day at a time. And that, my friends, is a story worth savoring, sweeter than any honey you'll ever taste.